So,
All right, now we're live.
so we're being videotaped, or whatever you call it,
Recorded.
recorded up there. Very official. And you all know Russ and Dana. They are now members of the committee. The committee's growing.
Well, I don't think we have voting
I wouldn't
members.
consider myself a member.
Oh, you're not members of the
We're
committee?
not voting members of
No,
the committee.
but I do realize that if something comes up in a financial type thing,
Great,
I'm going to be the one that should know about it.
excellent,
You are? This week, anyway.
great. So I'm gonna let you take over in just a second.
Can we just go around?
Daddy.
Yeah, let's go
I
around.
can't.
You don't know each other.
This is Kevin King.
Hi Kevin, very nice to meet you.
It's Paul King's son.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, did you know Paul? Okay, so I'm Chris Shaler.
Russell Tetro.
Mary Jo McGowan, I'm sorry for your loss. He was my neighbor.
Dana Hadley.
Craig Fournier, Emmett B. Kevin King.
Still okay.
Very good.
Okay.
Still at, gonna be right up till the last day.
Peg Foss.
Peg.
Before-
Hi, Peg.
Hi.
Before we begin, can I get everybody's phone number so that we can share among
Why don't you
ourselves?
just pass the sheet around and everybody say?
That, okay, if you want to do.
Yeah, but it should take 5 or 10 minutes to get everybody's phone number. It's all good.
Thank you.
Emmett, E-M-M-E-T-T.
No, I got that part.
Oh, let's not,
Okay.
if we're
Oh, I
live
don't.
on,
Yeah,
Will
yeah.
you- will
Let's
you-
pass
Oh.
the piece of paper around.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
let's put the paper around.
Yeah,
My
some
goodness.
people,
So bureaucratic here in our little town of Webster.
everybody has my number. I think the first thing we should do is just put a list of tasks that we need. I know you presented the selectmen, you had 4 main tasks, right? 3.
Yeah, I can, let me review my notes here.
Without going into a lot of detail, I just want to list tasks, so
Sure.
everybody's sort of on the same page.
Well, I think the first task all of us should do as committee members is maybe look at some of the attachments that Russ and Dana put, I think somewhere
It's on the website.
on the website there, so you can read through some of the documents that I read through. I've been in touch with about 4 people at the state, some DOT folks, some DES folks, and also a guy from the New Hampshire Technology Transfer Center at UNH. And they've just been a wealth of information. So this is probably the biggest document that's on there. It's the salt shed design template, and this is a,
Wait a
Oh,
minute,
that's
wait a minute.
Webster.
Yeah. Before we get into details about stubble sheds and stuff, I think you had 4 main headings. And I wanna-
yeah, I did, okay, yeah, I'm sorry.
I
I
wanna
did
write
this
these
direct.
down, and I think maybe,
But it,
That'll be helpful.
we were talking a little bit earlier before you came about maybe, just erased what we had been talking about, Craig. Is that maybe we ought to know what we're doing first.
yeah,
Well, you also probably
Mission statement.
should establish a chairperson or,
well, wait, let's,
Yeah.
until we get to know each other a little bit, I don't think we wanna choose a chairman right at the moment.
okay.
That's not a,
And it might be helpful to, if I was gonna finish, because this one is the main document that people would need to be for the first division of labor, which I was gonna suggest would be the building committee itself. So, I mean, there should be a group of people that go out and read the background material, and maybe go look at some sites. So it's a building subcommittee. That was my,
salt
Okay,
sheds,
so-
I put salt shed here, yeah.
So the first thing that we probably should be thinking about is doing environmental impact of, an engineer go up to the site to see if it's even feasible to put one there.
and some of the, I can get to that, because I've been talking to some people.
Have you had anybody, engineer, go up and check it all out and see what's there for, like, the water runoff that's coming down like right now out of there?
To answer your question, no.
Okay, so that's where we should, before we get too wrapped in what we're doing, we should be thinking about looking at if it's even feasible to put it.
Yeah, and that's part of the site committee that I was gonna talk
Okay.
about in a second here too, because I think that's another really important point.
That needs to happen first.
Yeah, yeah, we need to make sure that the property up there is suitable for
Right.
it. I've done some, just so you know, I used to work at the DES,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I worked in the Wetlands Bureau for a
That's
long
fine.
time, and I'm a water chemist by trade, and my area of expertise is actually salt shed stuff. This is what I did my master's degree in college. and
Okay,
stuff,
so then that
Um,
should technically be our first step of what you do
Yeah,
to put a salt shed in.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
So
Yeah.
what are, without getting too much details, what are the other tasks that you need to do here? I mean, you gotta,
The other subcommittee, and we wouldn't do this right away, it would be sort of towards the end, is what I would call a restoration remediation subcommittee. Because if the building does get moved and placed up there and we find that that's a viable thing, what we'll need to do is restore the old site back to its previous, restoration, remediation, whatever you want to call it.
would that be site preparation?
I think it's called site remediation, and so you're basically restoring the site back to what that used to be before there was a salt shed.
Craig, the old site.
And that's the piece where I've done a little bit of work
But,
on.
I mean, it was a plowed field at one.
No, Craig, where the salt shed is now.
The old ones. that
Oh,
talk
the
about-
old
Site.
restoration of, old site. I'm sorry, I didn't.
Yeah,
understand.
no, it's all cool.
And one of the things I've gleaned some information on for that is there's likely going to be some grant money available for the town for that. So that group then should be willing to do a little bit of grant application work, because there's up to $25,000 for us to go grab for that. And that's about a year
It sounds
process.
like we're automatically going to building a new shed.
That's what we're jumping the horse,
Is this
the carts in front of the
site-
horse.
I'm just
right now.
answering a question where he said if we're gonna do this, we would divide the labor.
Does this site even be deemed as,
Yes.
the soil, there's test lab, test wells over there saying that the salt has contaminated the ground over there?
Absolutely,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
the salt has contaminated the groundwater in the aquifer and for the drinking water for the elementary
From
school.
that site, or is it natural?
No, it's from that site.
I mean, I don't have the experience with wetlands like you do, Peg, but, I've been around town a long, long time, and if there was a test well or anything done, I would know where it was or seen it.
So the groundwater over there is coming out of the aquifer that's underneath it, and if you put a test well, you'd be, one thing we can do for these guys is, I forget who sent it to me, I think maybe it was your husband that sent me like the water chemistry results from it, so I'm just looking at the
Fred,
water
okay,
chemistry
so-
results that we
so
got.
That's fine.
And so the well for the school is tapping into the exact same aquifer as if you put a well 100 feet away in the
Which,
salt shed
so-
parking
which they
lot.
did.
So,
It's
what,
Yeah, so we have that water chemistry data.
But what's to say it's from that salt shed?
Correct.
That's not
Could be
from,
from the state,
from
don't.
the salt usage from the DOT.
Right. That's correct.
I guess that's the question, is we even deem that site as non,
It's not deemed yet, because there's
I
no
mean,
test wells.
it's
over
on
there,
the,
correct? No
correct.
test wells over.
I think she knows a little bit more
Yeah,
about
well, I
the
don't
test
think there's any
wells.
test wells near sites.
the water at the safety building right now, you can't drink. That's been tested that you can't drink it.
Because you're drinking out of the same aquifer. So maybe what we could do
So-
is bring the aquifer map.
So
maybe
then
that
if you're
would be-
gonna put the salt, I mean, I'm not arguing, keep it where it's at, or put it on the hill. But if it's the same aquifer, and you're gonna move
Do you-
everything.
we have water chemistry results for the fire department too?
Uh,
For the
we-
drinking water?
I buy bottled water and,
Yeah, but my
police-
question is, do we have water chemistry
The
results?
police
from-
department has way back, I'm pretty sure I can find that out.
Yeah, that'd be helpful, because it would be good to compare the two, because those wells are in 2 different locations, and that's part of the whole test well process. So, yeah, there's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
You know, I don't look at me like I'm the person saying this should happen. They asked me because this is my area of expertise. So what I
Right.
did was I went out and got a whole bunch of information
Mhm.
that I'm willing to share with you guys. And we're a committee, because we're all gonna make decisions together.
Agreed.
So this ain't the PEG project,
Yeah.
okay?
No, no,
So
but
I'm cool with you guys backing off on that a
but-
little bit. But, I would like you to at least recognize my area of expertise
Yeah.
here, just a little bit. And I'm gonna recognize your area of expertise too,
I
because you're
understand, but
the
I
builder,
also know
right?
what a test well is. You got a test well.
Well, so do I, I'm a water
Right, and
chemist.
they have that
That's
plastic.
what I did for my living
So
for
you
like 30
drop the
years.
plastic down into the
Yeah.
plastic tube, pull the water out, check it.
I've done water quality sampling for the state of New
Can we,
Hampshire for the last
can we,
25
move
years.
on?
And prior to that, I worked at a drinking water treatment facility
Yeah.
in the state of Rhode Island for 10 years. So I am a water chemist by trade, so yeah, that's
Right,
kind of,
but a test well is a well drilled with a plastic 2-inch pipe in it, so you can take your plastic tube that's about that long on the string, pull it out and test your water. I know that.
So Addie.
I know that too, that's my area of
Yeah,
expertise.
so they don't have one
Addie,
over there.
Hey,
Okay, I'm not
Addie.
disagreeing with you.
Addie. At town meeting, and I don't think you were there, Amanda and I gave a pretty thorough, what do you need? A pretty thorough presentation on Fred Regan's data that goes back to the 1990s about salt infiltration into various test wells that were put over on that site. According to Fred, there were numerous test wells that were dug, all of which turned up loaded with sodium. And you may not know about it, but you'll have to,
Well,
we've got the data on, that's the
let's
data
see
that
where
we're
the test
working
wells are then. He should know, he could show us.
They're all over there. What we need, and what I think you're saying, is that we need test wells on the new site.
No, we need, well, that we're just
Is
gonna
that
have
what
to-
you're saying?
No, I'm saying that we're gonna have to engineer that to see exactly what's gonna be able to happen here before we get too carried away of thinking we're gonna build there when, that site might not be feasible.
Well,
for
and
us.
what I'm trying to share with you is that we might already have the data we need to answer those questions. We don't know that yet.
Yeah,
So I guess if we need more test wells dug, you know, maybe that's a great thing, but we may already have the data that we need to answer those questions. So you wouldn't wanna spend money,
no, I don't.
you know,
I don't
doing a
want to.
well if you've already got the
Mhm.
data. And so that's where I think if we can get a hold of the aquifer map, which should be here somewhere,
It is.
we can maybe, you know, let everybody get familiar with that, because, you know, I think it's important for everybody to understand exactly like where this aquifer is. There is a groundwater ordinance in our town that was written about 15 years ago that does state that we can't, it does preclude the building of certain things over our aquifer to protect it, and that would be things like hazardous waste storage facilities, landfills, gas stations, salt sheds, and anything that would contaminate the water. So we do have that ordinance in place. So there's a lot to look at here. So I think if we can get more of the water quality data in the aquifer map,
Yeah.
that might,
Can
That
we
might
get
answer a
the,
lot
can we
of
get the
questions.
results that Fred passed on?
Yeah.
And put them on our webpage so everyone has access to them?
Yeah.
yeah, that's a great, here you go. Here, I'll keep passing that around too. So, yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
then
you know,
you-
that's what we're doing here. We're trying to figure out, you know, what's the information we need to make good decisions moving forward? What's some of the information that we've already gleaned? And then let's divide and conquer, because, I mean, I've already put like a gazillion hours into this. I've met already twice with the state, had about 4 phone calls with folks from the UNH Technology Center. This guy, Scott, he's like Mr. Salt Shed. This guy's resume is 10 times better than mine. And so he's been a wealth of information. This is also a guy that, he actually gets paid to come to communities and work with towns and share information about this exact thing. This guy has helped, and I've got a list of them in the paperwork here, of a bunch of communities where he's helped them rebuild their salt sheds. So we have the opportunity, if that's what we end up doing, being able to talk to other people that have been through this before and exactly what they did, how they did it, what would they do different. So there's opportunities for us to learn from others. From what I understand, one's right up in New London. They just rebuilt their salt shed. So there's places we can go see and actually talk to the folks that went through the process that we're about to go through, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. And maybe we can glean from them, you know, in your new site, how many test wells did you do? Where'd you put them? Why did you do that? Did you not have water quality data? Why did you pick the size and shape of the building you did? So we can, that's what I'm saying, like one of the committees should probably just focus on, if we're gonna do this and the whole building thing, you know, let's look at all the different types and let's go talk to some people about it. I think there should be another group of people that can be working on the site itself to say, okay, if this is where we're gonna build it, how are we gonna prove this is a good site? That's where you can be looking at aquifer maps, test wells, existing test wells, and compare the data. I mean, I've looked at water chemistry data my entire career, so I'm happy to help a little bit with that. And then, as things go forward, the other committee, if you will, or subcommittee, I think needs to be the financial person, which is why I asked Dana and Russell to kind of dive in, because, you know, if we're gonna have to, if we make decisions like, yeah, we wanna put a test well up there, or yeah, we wanna explore these different things, everything's gonna cost money, so we need to figure out how much money do we have toward this already, and really what's the budget. One of the great tools that this guy Scott told me was that Russell's gonna be giving some information to me about our salt use that we've done in the past. And if you can email that to me, there's actually a computer model, and I used computer models my entire career with the state, so I can run the computer model. I've already looked at it. And you can put in like your road miles, or you can put in the weight of your salt that you bought, or you can put in the diameter of your existing pile. So there's like 3 different ways to put data into the model. And this model will give you a sense of, yeah, you've been using this, and they tell you use at least 5 years average data. So, you know, look back and say, you know, how much salt have we used in the last 5 years, 10 years, 15, and I can run the model in 50 different ways. And then that helps us decide, okay, we need a 100 by 200 square foot building. And then it's a starting point. And then you go look at things that look like that. So this is why, like everything that I've learned so far, it would be helpful for me, if you guys are willing to, dive into this stuff a little bit. Maybe you'll glean something that I haven't already absorbed. And then when we break into our subcommittees, we can kind of divide these tasks and figure out how we go about it.
I think though, before we start, we should make sure that the site is feasible to put one in.
Yes, so I think he needs to be
That's
on
what
the
needs to
site
happen.
subcommittee.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to.
You know, it sounds
So,
like you're passionate.
But I
about it.
think that's your first thing, before we get too carried away of going and looking and seeing all this stuff.
Mhm.
If that site's not feasible to put one,
And I
what
agree
are
with
you
you.
gonna do then?
I agree with you. So that's a
So-
great place to start. So
Right.
that committee will have the most work to do up front, just like the restoration committee will have the most work to do at the end. And then maybe the building people are somewhere in the middle. And with the building, there's also then, the site committee can, we talked about, should be some sort of master plan for this 45 acres. I mean, I doubt the only thing that's ever gonna be put there is a salt shed. Maybe someday there'll be a big highway garage, or maybe someday town hall will be there. But if it's 45 acres and you're gonna start developing it, there should be a master plan for it. And that's where, I believe, one of the selectmen is supposed to be on our committee. Is it John?
No, he's not gonna be on.
Or somebody, or maybe you guys will
Well,
represent
Marlo, I
them or
think.
something.
I-
But the
yeah.
selectmen should be involved in, you know, we're
Right.
using town's property to do
Right.
something with it.
So
They
that-
need to have the master plan, so they'll say, okay, you know, here's the 5-acre site, here's our, you know, it's just like ski resorts when they do planning. They have a 1-year plan, a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, a 20-year plan. You know, what is the 20-year plan for this? So we don't wanna build something that's gonna be in the way of something they might wanna do 10 or
Slightly.
15 years from now.
Need-
So a couple of cursory things we can say about the property to begin with is that my review of the aquifer maps and I've also looked at the soils maps up there. It's well outside of wetland and it's well outside of the footprint of the aquifer. So we've accomplished those two things.
Have you bought the property?
I have, not the full property. I haven't myself. I've been up there, but I've probably seen, I don't know, 4 or 5 acres of the 45, and I have no idea where the boundary is, so, no, I haven't done that. But I know where the aquifer is, and I know where that is, so that part I've done. So I know that on the state soils maps, there are no wetlands up there, and I know that it's outside the aquifer, so that's a good place to start.
So,
I know-
My question is, how does sodium chloride penetrate the ground?
It's osmosis. It's basically,
Okay.
yeah, so
What's the main reasons of sodium chloride penetrating the surface?
it's water. Water moves that
Mhm.
because it's salt. It's basically salt. It gets dissolved in the water and then moves in that way.
So if it's sitting inside of a building with a roof on a non-pervious surface, how is it doing that?
It shouldn't. And so if you look at the salt shed designs, that's exactly what they tell you to do. It's the first thing you do once you have your building
The
footprint.
current salt shed that we have over there has a paved base in it. A paved, it's not, correct?
Yeah.
It has a paved, non-pervious surface.
Well, obviously, it's not containing the runoff from that site. So there's two things to consider, and again, this goes into depth with this. Once you figure out the size of the building you need, you back calculate the size of the impervious surface. The size of the impervious surface should be much larger than the footprint of the building, because you've got trucks going in and out. And the other thing you want to calculate with your building is the best way to do it, to really contain what you're talking about, all of that runoff, is to have your trucks loaded and unloaded underneath that roof. So if you look at some of the designs in here,
That is not a DOT standard.
well, actually it is.
It is not.
Actually it is. Here, I'll give you the report.
You can, I don't need it, I work for DOT.
Okay.
I
Well-
supervise 20 sheds, and not a single one of them loads inside.
I'm not
It's
saying
not-
you, I'm not saying you have to.
It's
This-
all on a non-pervious surface storage. The salt
Uh-huh.
that's in the building is covered, it cannot penetrate into the ground
Yeah,
until
if it's built
wet.
correctly, it shouldn't. You're
Until it
right.
is wet.
So what I was
Which
saying,
happens as we put it out on the roadway,
yeah.
that's when it becomes wet.
All right, well, I don't know what else to say.
I'm just,
You had
What I'm
said,
trying to describe is what I've read is that, if you can make the building big enough for the transfer of materials to happen under the building, they recommend that. You don't have to build the building that way, and I don't disagree with you. If you have an impervious surface and all of that salt is contained, and you've got a building over it, and there's no runoff, then it should not go anywhere. I'm not disagreeing with you, and it's said pretty clearly in here.
Right.
So that's the kind of thing, if we are gonna build a new one, what we should be shooting for. So this tool allows you to kind of estimate the size of the building you might need for whatever uses you decide, either just storage or storage and transfer, and then you back calculate that impervious surface, and then that, in theory, should 100% have no runoff at all. And the building that I was very involved in Rhode Island, when I worked for a big drinking water treatment plant, the town of Situate built one. This is back going 40 years ago. They did one of those cone-shaped ones, and they did the impervious surface. And because we were the water chemists, we went out and got all the samples and did all the water testing on the test wells to make sure that they had full containment. And they did. It was a really expensive project, and it was the cutting-edge technology at the time. I think now it looks like there's a lot more options that have a broader price range. So there's a lot to consider here.
the Ambrell building design should be in one of those documents we have.
Yeah,
It's the standard.
probably that one.
Is the standard that we
to Gambro. So you work for DOT. So then you need to be on the building committee then, if this is what you do.
We're
like-
gonna see if we can.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's what we're here for,
Yes.
so
No.
if you have.
Yes and no.
So,
Well,
It sounds like we're jumping right in, we need to know
Yeah.
how to build it.
yeah, but this is not, that's
No, I'm
not
saying-
how.
there's a couple tasks I think that we haven't even talked about.
Right.
One of them is the road up there, okay? I'm gonna put the road, and then that leads into, clearing the site. And,
I can already tell you what that
Have you
is.
been up on that site? I have not.
I cleared where the firehouse is and mud was about that
Has
deep.
anybody else been up there?
First of June.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Been up there.
But-
somebody,
Before we get going too far, we should check it for the engineering part of it, before we even jump into it.
right,
What we're doing, talking about the
Right.
price of roads, this, that,
Yeah,
the
right.
buildings. You got to see if the site is even feasible for what it is. So the select board should probably let us issue that you can have an engineering company go in there and check it and see what we got for material. Otherwise, we're wasting our time here.
I don't think anybody's disagreeing with you, that's,
That's what needs to happen.
site
number one.
evaluation is number one.
Number one.
Okay, so
So we
that's
should
something we
stop
can do
right
here.
there.
Well, I don't think we need to stop right there, because there's a lot to
We-
learn about this.
There's a
So
lot
if
to
I might,
learn, right,
if I
but
might continue, maybe what we could do is with these subcommittees, like, let's order them in their order of priority. So the site suitability one should be the number one thing we do.
yeah.
And then we can figure
before-
out what number 2 is and what number 3 is.
No, I agree with you.
So that we have,
100%.
what I
Can I
expect
say-
coming out of this is
can I
like a
say
working
something?
plan.
Can I say something?
Sure, sure.
There's a few tasks that we haven't got up here.
Everybody has a different way of approaching this.
I'd like to get
Everybody
this
does.
up here.
I wonder if we should get a chair or somebody to moderate the conversation so that we have an orderliness to this.
we're
Because
having
we
an
have somebody
orderly one,
brand
but
new,
no, you're not.
Which I'm glad you're
Not right,
here.
I'm 55.
Well, you look pretty good.
Well, I think you're right, we have to keep order, but if we don't, I mean, I've heard a lot from Peg, heard a lot from Adam, and I don't think anybody's got out of line yet. I mean,
Peg's done a lot of good homework.
She's gonna be a big help through all this, I think we all have some interest, every idea is something to look at. There is one other thing that, on that site over there that probably needs to be looked at, because the town owns up over the hill, almost to Lake Winnipocket, and you're not that far through the woods from the salt, where the salt shed's gonna be in Winnipocket.
So tell me what I'm looking at here, Emmett, the black line is the property line, or, and the red dot is what?
The red dot is the safety building,
Okay,
so you
gotcha.
go up on top of the hill, so
Yep.
you're here,
Yep,
and then, right,
is the black the property line?
no,
Oh,
no, this.
is the red?
The red is the property line to here, that's what the town owns,
Okay, and that square right there is the safety building?
right here in this corner.
Gotcha, okay,
And
good.
then the town, it goes on an angle, which hasn't been out yet, on an angle, we own on an angle to here,
Mhm.
and then.
So we don't own straight
No.
down that
Yeah,
red line?
well, it just goes on a 45-degree angle, I think we cut 11 acres, wasn't it 11 acres we saved for the gentleman out of the corner? It was something weird he wanted to save.
The flat.
It's a
Okay, so let's get the
piece,
tax map.
basically.
Can we get the
That-
tax map for it that shows that whole
That'll
site?
show how many
Somebody-
feet
can you
it
get
is
that
from
one?
the salt shed.
Perfect, because that'll have our,
Right.
that'll have our dimensions.
Right, this has elevation.
That's what we need.
And,
We'll have topography, we'll have the size of the lot,
not to whatever's, but
We
we
could
just don't
probably
want to
get
put a
that
lot
survey.
into here.
And then you
People
can-
don't realize
Yeah.
that it's that close to
I doubt
Winnipocket.
so.
right, right. Well, you
The
gotta be
original.
conscious of that, because you don't wanna like
What
like
is it,
start
1,800
another
feet?
problem.
It's not that far, it's.
That I
it's
handed
a
in.
mile.
It's in the Mylars in the vault.
It's not that far, once you
Well, we
come to
need to get
the,
that
up
out.
there, you can walk to,
I've been asking
well,
for a
there's a
couple of
mushroom
years
tree
now.
down there.
Salt shed
All
filter.
right, well,
What's that?
yeah,
I
I
mean,
think,
not to discourage anybody, but it's something to think about before we put a lot of money there and then wish that, oh geez, I'm Winnapocket's right down behind it, because you wouldn't know
Oh,
unless you're
wait a
in the
minute.
woods.
Unless you're gonna put the salt shed way in the back of that lot, which wouldn't make a ton of sense. I thought initially you said you wanted it up front.
Up on
Like
High and
closer.
Dry, but
Yeah.
still, I
Up
mean,
close.
that's only 800 feet to the.
But that's ledgy.
So,
It's all ledge up in there. I mean, it's
before-
not gonna drain into it.
Okay, I'm looking at the big picture,
Yeah.
and then we'll
Yeah.
go from this big up to this big, and before we spend $1 million there and then realize, oh gee, we're too close to Winnapocket.
right, you
It's
got
not.
it,
That's
so,
all.
so I'm just making a note to myself, like, the best way to do that is get the tax map, the aquifer map, and the soil map.
Okay.
Go bing, 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 and, we can, I'm sure these all exist on paper,
You can keep it.
but,
They probably all exist on our existing tax maps online on the GIS maps.
Yeah,
right,
if you
that's
could
what I'm
put
thinking,
that
let's get a
together.
GIS map, because you can add the layers on and you can
Correct.
see all three.
Because it already exists, we have it right on our website, you can go on Access GIS right under the assessing department, and you can go right into our tax maps and click the different layers and see what's what.
And another thing that I would like to recommend, and
I tried loading it, but this can't load
the
it.
committee
Keep loaded.
can talk about it one way or the other, is I would like the town to spend the money to put, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 test wells over around the salt shed. That will tell if it isn't contaminated or it really is contaminated around there and we have a real serious problem for the few hundred, what's it cost for, is it $1,000 a test pit, what do they cost now?
All depends how deep they go, and then
So,
if you monitor them 2 times a year, or whatever.
I would,
that's-
and I would like to see, so if it does stay there, that we're not hurting anything. And if it's already contaminated, like the school well is,
It is,
I know it is.
yeah,
It is here too. It's all around here.
Exactly.
But I'm not sold that it's from the salt,
Right.
because no matter where you go in different parts, and you deal with Capital Well, in all the plants and stuff that, in the filtration
the runoff from the
filters
road,
that
you
they,
mean?
no, the
Oh.
filtration that they have in basements of houses to give them good drinking water, that's nowhere around anything that can contaminate it, it's just already in the ground.
Mm.
So, I know there's a problem at the school. I worked close with Brad for how many ever years. But it would tell us what's going on in that area.
Well,
So
the
do you know,
USGS came out and did those wells. This may be before you, Emmett.
There's no wells there.
They did test wells.
They'd still be there.
Where are they?
I don't know. I
Okay,
don't
so-
know. This is
So
before my
those things ought to
time.
be sticking out of the ground probably
They
that
closed
high,
them.
so you ought to be
They
able
di-
to see them.
They did the test wells,
Okay.
according to them. They did the test wells, tested what was in the well. They were all contaminated and they closed them.
But was it from the salt?
Yes, all of them were
So
contaminated
do you-
with sodium chloride.
do you guys, you know Jean Schwaziak? And Jack Schwaziak?
Oh, we have nice folks, yeah.
Okay, so Jean and I saw each other in the laboratory for decades. She is the state of New Hampshire's, she's one of the best water chemists in that building, okay? So she might be a good resource for us to reach out to say, hey, listen, look at all the, if you got the history of the wells and where
Okay.
they were and
So if
what
they've
they
already
showed.
done
I mean,
it,
literally, this is what she does for a living. If you go to the water lab right now and drop off your samples, she's running them. I would bring my samples back, she's plating up the bacteria.
so
Like,
if the wells
she's
are already there and
she's
done, then we'll
retired
move
now,
on.
like me, thankfully, but she's a smarter water chemist than I'll ever be, okay? So, and she lives right here in town, and she was at the town meeting, she was actually the first one to speak. And she looked at me and kind of cocked her head like, how come your ass isn't up there? And then I sat and chatted with her, and I'm like, does that mean you want me to go say something? And she goes, yeah, get your ass up there and tell them what you do
And
for a
she
living.
also
So
said,
she might help us.
she also said, we need to do something about this.
Well, maybe
She
she
was-
knows more than we do,
Yeah.
because maybe she's seen the data, because I haven't seen all the result. I've seen one water test that you sent me that was from the last water test that was from the school. So if anybody's gonna look at water, all this, Jean's probably the best one, I can do it. You know, I'd need a lot of information about, you know, the map of where all the wells are, I'd need reams and reams of data, but it sounds like she already maybe is familiar with it. For all I know, she probably ran the damn tests, Emmett.
Oh.
So I know her, she's my dear friend, I'll
So
call
no, if
her.
it's all been done, then
Well,
I didn't know
To
that.
make it
And
all
if it
cut and
hasn't
dry,
been
do one
done-
right now, take it to Eastern Analytical down there in Concord and have them test it.
Well,
Easy.
my point though,
I
you're
understand it.
you like people to call you Addie?
Yep,
And
fine.
so, yeah, and so that's what we would do something along those lines. But if the work has already been done, then let's not waste the money, my friend.
Well,
Correct.
It's my money too.
I didn't know it was
That's what
already
it
done.
said.
Yeah, I'd like to see the wells, that's what I'd really.
So who's the best person to compile all this data? You're the one that forwarded to me. Do we
Russ?
have test well data or?
I don't have this.
Oh, test well, I can get the same information that I got from Fred,
Okay,
and he had it from USGS.
okay.
So,
He'll have like the map of the wells and all the data, and usually when they do that, there's a report that goes with it, so nobody expects you to be a chemist, so, you know, they do a report that, like this, it's your 2-page fact sheet. Here's how many wells we did, here's what we found, blah, 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 and that might be helpful as well, if something like that exists. Because I'd like to see it too. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Addie, is that is priority number one, is let's see
The site.
if we're even gonna do this, is this site suitable, and do we
Correct.
have information that already shows us that, yeah, we should be doing this? The other understanding that I have is that the salt shed is in really bad shape, and you know better than us, is this thing ready to fall down? Or, I mean, I saw pictures of the back of it, it looks
Yeah.
pretty rotted out. Is this thing's ready to fall down?
Well, it does need some love, I'll be honest with you, but for the last 10 years, we haven't really put a lot into it because the goal was to move.
Right,
And it's got a brand new roof on it, I don't know how many thousands of dollars 4 years ago, 5 years ago, we put a new roof on it, so the.
so we've been kind of Band-Aiding it
The
for a
water
while,
wouldn't get down into the salt, it'd
Good.
run it off.
right?
But, I mean, I took the oldest 2-story structure in the town of Webster and brought it back to life.
Yes, you did.
Susan and I. And, I mean, anything can be fixed, it's not beyond fixing.
Mm-hmm.
I just went and looked at it, it looks to me like if you put new braces to the
Yeah.
back of it, all over on the sand side, there's 2 boards broke, you got about that far, the sand's coming up. Salt part of it, there's nothing coming out the back side of that, on that shed, there's no salt whatsoever.
And it's
out
all
on the
impervious
ground.
beyond
It's
it?
on the top, inside,
It's all like there's a big,
yep,
yeah.
inside.
Do we
Did you
have
see
a
the
blueprint?
pictures
Do
that
we have a
Amanda-
I saw those, but
blueprint
they're-
of the plan over there? Like, do you have a building
What-
plan of
Oh,
what's?
they might have something at the town hall, but it would be nothing.
Because maybe that would be something to look at too, is if we have a blueprint of, or maybe we can just draw one up, you know, it's not rocket science, and
Right.
say, okay, we've got this size building and this size footprint. We can cross-reference it with the tools that are available and say, yeah, you know, maybe all we really need to do is add like 20 more feet of impervious surface, blah, 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 blah. So we can at least answer some questions. I'm not sure.
I wanna beg,
I'm not sure that, I'm not saying that's the answer, I'm just saying that everybody needs to I agree that we need to look at everything.
But I also think that we have a mandate from the town. You guys weren't there at town meeting. Everybody raised their card and said, we need to move the salt shed. They understand that the site itself is contaminated. And for this committee, as far as my being on this committee, I am here, and I think you are here, with the assumption that we are following the mandate of the town that said we need to move to a safer site, because that site is contaminated. So spending a lot of time and wheel spinning to see whether that can be refurbished, I don't think is a reasonable thing to do.
And I agree, that was the consensus at the town hall. I think it was like a 90-something% vote that everybody voted to make it a priority and to move it and rebuild it into the site.
Right.
So I think part of our committee is to get justification for all of
I
that.
just want to, from my perspective, I asked to be on this committee because I was at town meeting and I saw that everybody in the town hall voted to move the salt shed to the property that we already bought for that purpose. And I'm wanted to learn more about it because I don't understand why it hasn't started to happen since we bought that property so long ago for the purpose of moving the salt shed.
Yeah.
Money,
Yeah, but
Money.
The
we
money,
haven't
but it's
even
like,
investigated.
you don't
the
even know if that
option of-
site is gonna
Well,
be good to do.
Can we just agree that that's gonna be the first step, so we don't have to
Okay,
talk
so-
about it over and over?
So that's where we should start, right there. That's where we gotta start before we do anything any further.
Yeah, Addie,
Yeah,
I think
agree.
everybody
We've
here
already
should say that.
identified-
I think
We've already
I heard you say
identified
that,
that
and I
we
agree
need
too.
a
That's a
site
good place to start.
Yes.
engineering.
As well
thing.
as looking at water chemistry.
Yeah,
Could you,
well,
would you agree that there's more to
the-
learn? Because I'd like to look at the water
Absolutely
chemistry
you
too.
do. It's like if you go up there right now and you look in the ditches up there, you got water sitting there right now. You
Yeah.
look right, when you turn into the fire department, you got a little pond right out next to the road, full of water, right, right in this very minute. You go up behind the fire department, you look in the rock ditch, got water in it.
Well,
So
if we
you know
build-
there's an aquifer somewhere.
So, wait.
No, there is
Just
not an
one-
aquifer there,
Well,
sir.
well,
There's not
you
an
got
aquifer.
runoff.
What that
of-
is standing water runoff. And if you
But-
build a facility, there will be no ponds, because it's supposed to be an impervious surface. He probably knows the most about that
How are
than
you
any
gonna
of
get
us.
rid of that pond if it's on the
They're
neighbor's
both
land?
saying- They're both saying the same thing.
There is a little pond out next to the road. If you go over there right
Oh,
now,
oh,
you'll see it.
Oh, down there.
Yes, and you're gonna be up higher than that. Where do you think that water is gonna drain? It's going downward. I've
Well,
never
according
seen-
to him, if it's an impervious surface and the building is built the right way, there should be no
Can I-
runoff.
can I-
According to the research,
Can I
it
say
shows that
something
too.
here? We all agreed that we need an engineering study.
let's do it.
And I think that's where we should begin
Yes.
here. We should ask the selectmen to authorize a request for, what do you call them?
Engineering company to come in.
Request for engineering, and get some quotes. What the hell is this thing gonna cost us?
Mhm.
And let the engineering facts determine where we go on this thing.
Good deal.
Without talking about salt shed and,
Right, we're ways from that.
yeah, we're allowed.
Well, can I interject something else?
Yeah.
Because, I mean,
Yeah.
I did this work for a reason for y'all,
Yeah,
right?
you
So
did.
can I add something else to that?
Yeah,
A big portion of this has a whole list of engineering people that do nothing but this, okay? So like, if we're gonna, I just don't want some random engineer guy to show up
Correct.
there. I wanna see this
So
dude's
can we
resume.
have that
we get
and
that
give
list.
that to Dana?
Give
Your
that to
info?
Dana.
He already has it, my friend.
Okay.
He had
Yeah,
this
yeah.
weeks
Yeah, so-
ago. So yeah, there's a whole list of companies here. What I can do is I'll review it all and I can direct you to the page so you don't have to go through, oh, I'm sorry, is it 98 pages? And there's a whole list of them that are, this guy Scott at the UNH Technology Center literally recommended them. He has worked with them, he has seen their work and blah, 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 blah.
I think
So-
we're not a private company here. We have to open this up to
Bids.
Everybody.
bids, to bids.
Yeah,
I
anything,
mean, we can invite
Absolutely.
those
But
companies.
like all state funds, you know, you can choose who you hire based on their resume. So you can open it up to anybody, and we have to do that by law. But we're gonna look at the resumes of the people that are bidding on this to make sure that they know salt shed design specific. Because that's all we're looking to do here, unless there's some master plan that tells us we shouldn't be doing that.
So there's a policy, anything over $10,000, it has to go out to 3 bids. But there's nothing saying if you don't have to go with the lowest bidder, whoever the reputable person is that's gonna do the best for the town. Because you don't always get the best deal because it's the low buck.
Correct.
You get what you pay for.
So I'm hearing you say that this committee would recommend to the select board to look into hiring an engineering firm. for
That
this
Peg
purpose.
recommends
Well, that-
her.
We'll have a committee of people that'll look at this. This is, again, it's not the PEG project. I'm gonna
Right,
help
right.
you
You're
guys
good.
out as
You're
much
good.
as I can, but I would like some help and some more.
So we're
I
gonna-
want somebody
we're-
like you on it, cause you're a tough
We're
guy.
gonna take, your people that you got, so that's what we'll do. We'll give them to the selectmen, they
Yeah.
can make a decision.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to reread this.
Because they're gonna have to pay the bill, not you and me. Well, we're gonna pay the bill in a roundabout way, but
Right.
I don't wanna lay the money out right today.
And just so
The
you know,
language for when it goes out to bid needs to be
Right.
set in there.
specific.
That's right.
Right,
Yeah.
and so this is why I pulled this one out. I did do some highlighting. This is the 2-page list of people that have recently built salt sheds. This is the guy, Scott, said, these are the people you need to go talk to. Some of these are big money projects, one of them was like $72,000. So you got a range of everything up to millions. Alton, Raymond, Northampton, Berlin, blah, blah, blah. And we can ask them, who did they use for their engineering and how did they go about it? So this will help us, so we're not just trying to reinvent the wheel. This might be, you know, a good place to start too. You know, we can't have the testing up there until we have a bunch of people looking at, you know, so you hired this engineering firm, would you do it again? What did they do right, what did they do wrong? And this is just a bunch of, I don't know, phone calls, or, you know, it's not that far. You know, drive up and, well, one of them, well, it's even Sanford, Maine, what's that, a little over an hour. Anyways, you know, there needs to be a group that's willing to reach out to all these folks, and, I mean, I've got the list of contractor names, but what we want is, how was it to work with them? You know, like, if a guy builds your house and whatever, then your neighbor comes over and talks to you about it, you know, would you hire him again, type of thing. I feel like that's more of a committee thing, you
Yeah,
know?
I think that the first step is to have the select board approve.
Yes.
This to start.
Yep.
Well, before, I agree with you, Dana, but we gotta have a ballpark figure. I mean, are we looking at $5,000 or are we looking at 50,000? The select board needs to know that.
And these guys might be able to tell us,
It,
you know,
What's that?
because they've been through it.
it's gonna be hard to say. They're gonna have to take and, you know,
Yeah.
gonna have to see what we got for a plan, and that's where, you know, it could cost us 50 grand instead of, like I've seen it when, over there on the end of, Clough and Sandman Hill, it was 14,000 to engineer 3 pipes, so, you tell me.
And I can reach out to the guy, Scott, Mr. Salt Shed, and tell
22
him what
years
we're
ago.
about to
Was
do.
there?
And I can ask for
was
his
still there.
advice, to say, all right, Scott, you know, we went to our
Yeah, they-
first committee meeting, we need to, you know, figure out hiring an engineering firm, how should we go about this, what are the range of costs, blah, 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 blah. And, I bet you he's gonna know a ton about it, so I'm willing to give him a call back. I told him I'd probably call him 50 more times, and at some point, he'd probably come, if, you know, he would come out here and he says, I literally get paid to do that. So,
So we wouldn't have to pay him.
no, he works for the UNH Technology Center, he's
Okay.
free, he's free of charge.
Okay.
And all of this has been free of charge, he will come here free of charge. So, this is part of it, you know, I don't wanna call myself a penny pincher, but I'm real smart with my money.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna pretend this is my money, so I don't wanna just be hiring somebody to go do something. Number one, I wanna make sure we need them. Number two, I wanna make sure if we need them, they're qualified. And number three, we're gonna make sure that they're charging the right amount of money, which means we need to sniff around and see, you know, we're
Do you
gonna get the
want- do you
best
wanna
bang
help
for our
sniff?
buck.
I'll sniff.
Now, who do you guys engineer your own stuff?
Do you like any of those engineers?
I like all of them.
You work for the DOT? So does DOT offer any kind of free engineer?
DOT has so many engineers,
Hello?
so we don't have to pay an engineer.
No, I know, but
Good.
does DOT have any
Town
kind of
hall.
service that they offer to towns like us to offer free engineering advice or any, they don't do that?
Yeah, I'll run right up.
Too
They'll
bad
give
for
me
us.
free advice
Yeah,
to report back.
yeah.
Oh,
So what is the
All
job
right,
that
I'll
you do
go.
at DOT? You still working there?
That was the police chief, the fire alarm's going off at the
Okay,
safety
we'll
building,
see.
I gotta go check that out.
Yeah.
What do you do
can I,
there
can I,
exactly?
Yeah.
can I talk to you
Highway
sometime
maintenance?
over the weekend?
Highway
I just have
maintenance, so
some
you build
questions.
roads and
And you
you,
Yeah, call, you got my number.
I do.
roads, solve
Thank
those,
you.
so.
Store salt.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
And where do you work out of? Like on Hazen Drive or Bedford?
So we just go to $1 million salt shed.
I wonder if you're
in
on my
Sa-
list.
In Salem, on a conservation land.
Wow.
Town of
Really?
Bedford, Brian DeFossis,
No,
PE, town
State of New
engineer.
Hampshire, not
In
town.
2024, we paid $210,000 for a concrete waste block structure paved underneath 56 by 88. That's a different project?
That's town of,
That's town of, okay.
it'll say state of.
So state of, all right, he might have just given me, I mean, this is just an email thing.
Ours
so-
are huge, right?
Huh?
Ours are huge. What little bit of salt, the town,
Right.
whether it's Webster,
Right.
whatever, our
It's gonna be a
storage
lot smaller.
is 200-300 ton. We're
Correct.
storing
Yeah.
5,000 to 6,000.
In
Oh,
this
gotcha.
one over here,
It takes a lot of salt.
When I was a road agent-
89, 93, it takes a lot. Our salt is,
So you're like orders of
3, 4,
magnitude,
5,000 ton.
yeah,
We
orders of
see it, we
magnitude
see it
bigger
on
than
Channel 9
probably
every
what
time
we
it
need.
snows.
right.
They show
This
the salt
over
sheds
here is
every
like
single
when I was
time.
a road agent, we used 9 loads a year, 270 ton, 30-ton loads. So you calculate that out in 9 loads.
That was what Emmett
won't-
was saying today, was 300 tons.
Yeah,
We
so
used for
it's
the
not
last-
that much
Yeah,
more.
you need to send me all that information.
So-
And I'll-
I've got it written down and get you the road miles.
37 miles of road is what they have, a lot of it's dirt, so you're not salting the dirt.
Yeah.
And that's about basically what we used to use, 270 tons. That was a lot of, having a lot of rain. We got hit with that ice storm in 1998, so that was one of them that was
Use more.
pretty mean. You know, you
Yeah.
could put salt out and be iced over that thick
Before you came back.
before you came back. I seen,
Yeah,
you
and so-
can't even get back up over a hill after you've done.
I do wanna share,
Club and Salmon was a great one.
yeah, I do wanna share
It is
one
a
other
great
thing
one,
that I
it's a
learned.
great one.
One other thing I learned about, because I did ask them, and I know you're not gonna like hearing this, so just hear me out, because I had to ask the question. I said, you know, what if the town decides that it's just gonna cost too much money to reinvent the whole wheel here, and they wanna rebuild what they're doing? What's gonna hurt us there is any kind of reconstruction with it, you're within the Shoreland Protection Act, or within the Shoreland Protection Buffer. I mean, that building is nowhere near 250 feet back,
Nope.
and it's not an accessory building or anything. So then we're getting into a whole ball of wax there with permitting, because when you go to redesign or rebuild something, change the footprint, the shape, anything, and I know this from all my work up at the docks and the boat sheds and everything, permitting comes into play there where, it's not like you're just repairing the
Right.
structure. So we have to be very conscious of that, where I think, you know, there's no way in this day and age that thing would allow to be built where it is in the position immediately, almost immediately adjacent to a Class A water in this state.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't get the permit for it. It wouldn't happen.
Correct.
So any shot at trying to redesign or rebuild or whatever, good luck with that, because you're not, you don't, and this is what happens, it's not grandfathered if you start fixing things and rebuilding it. You
Well,
have to follow the rules that are current to today, not what they were 20 years ago or 30 years ago. So that, I think, is also just pushing people's minds into the point, well, okay, if you can't even get the permit to begin with, then why are we spinning our wheels over there? You know, why are we gonna put a test well
So-
there if people already want it up on the hill? So it's, I did ask the question, and
Yeah.
that permitting piece came up.
Right, but we shouldn't, about basically the back side of that needs new braces. You're coming off the back of it 4 feet maybe, and fixing those braces that are there. They're only that high off the ground. It's not as if, it would take you a day to fix
Abby,
It might
And
take you a
that's
day
how-
to fix
So
it, but I
can I-
don't think it's
can I-
gonna fix the problem.
it. Well.
I don't think it's gonna fix the
This-
problem. And
this-
you gotta prove to me, okay, if that's what you wanna do, I'm
Oh,
I'm the
I'm
chemist.
not
You
saying-
gotta prove to me that that thing isn't contaminating. And I don't believe that based on what I've said, so, what I've seen so far.
We got an engineer here, then you're gonna have to figure out your test wells.
Hmm.
That's what you're gonna have to do.
up there.
And-
So can I ask a question about the engineers? We just talked about asking the select board for money for an engineer, but then it seemed like we got into talking about somebody engineering a building, and we're really just talking about site evaluation.
Right.
Right, we're
Right.
talking about site
That's what we're
evaluation.
doing.
We're talking
So
about site
that's our
evaluation,
first
not
step.
building.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
So
that's
until
right.
until we know that, then we.
Can't do anything till
That's
that's
our
done.
next
But Addie,
We
is
heard
it,
you,
is
Nick.
it, is it also true though, that in order to get a site evaluation, we have to know beforehand where Emmett thinks the best location on that 45 acres is?
Well, that's
No,
part
that-
of
Won't
the
they
help
master
us
plan,
decide that?
part of it.
Well, yeah, we
need
don't
to
have a
know.
master
We need-
plan though.
That's the point, we need to develop.
But won't they
the
help
plan.
us decide that?
Correct,
Pardon me?
that's what the
Yeah.
engineer's there to help us with. And Marlo had talked about hiring, I think the surveyor that she had gotten, or had thought about, brought up to the select board for doing a lot of this work, doing the test pits, seeing what the soils were. Remember, because you talked about it at the
Yeah.
meeting, and you were saying a lot of that stuff already existed.
Right.
But we wanted to talk to somebody about getting a site plan up there and figure out where, if we're gonna eventually do, say, a highway building, town salt shed, maybe a town hallway down in the future if the town gets bigger and this is no longer suitable. You know, where is it gonna lay out?
So
But
we
that's
got-
not necessarily, it's part of it, but it's not necessarily the main part of it for this community. Maybe that's something the select board works on separately.
Yeah.
Or maybe the planning board works on it, you know, but.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be hugely helpful, because that's a huge piece of the pie. You know, we're not putting anything anywhere unless we know from them what's your plan, you know, for
Right.
20 years from now, 40 years from now.
And then we gotta figure out where the road's gonna go up there too. That's
Right,
what
right.
Craig brought up, you know, we need to know where the entrance is going.
Yeah, I
And
wanted
like
to-
you
I
move
wanted to
salt
ask
around
Emmett
for a
about
li-
that.
I forgot your name, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. What is it?
Kevin.
Kevin. So, you move salt around, so you and Emmett might be good people to look at the site and say, okay, if we're gonna be moving trucks in and out of here, and this is where we're gonna put the road, maybe you got a lot to, information you can share with us about where this stuff should go, and what's the best way to get in and out of here, and don't make the road longer than it needs to be, and if we're gonna put other things there, where should we tuck this thing so it can serve the purpose and not be in the way? Yeah, you got it. So, you know, it looks like we got the right people in the room. We just gotta team up and divide the labor and get
Kevin, are you
going.
interested?
Um,
I'm interested in seeing the test bed results.
Okay.
yeah, me
As
too,
well
man.
as the,
Me
see if
too.
an engineering company up there.
Yeah, me too. So,
Everybody talks about these test wells and all that stuff.
we're out, that's it.
If they were really that contaminated, they would not cover and fill wells.
Correct,
They would
so you're gonna be
constantly-
there.
They would want to keep
well, they
checking
may
to make
have,
sure it's
the
not
only reason
any
I was
higher.
thinking they may have covered the wells is that, like you said it, test wells cost money. So maybe they only had a certain amount of money to pay for the well to be monitored at a certain time. It's not like it was mandated, like it's a landfill, you're gonna have a test well and you're gonna pay for that for the next 100 years. It ain't like that, so I think it's something different. So it could have been they ran out of money. I wanna see that information as well. But I saw the chemistry results for that building. That is not a typical, okay,
Dana?
this is one of the highest
Were you gonna reach out to Fred
chloride
for the
contaminations
information?
I can reach out to
I've
Fred,
ever
but he's
come
retired,
across.
so I don't know
And I've
where
been
he
doing
is.
this a while.
Oh.
You don't know
So,
where he
and
is.
He's still
again, my
working.
specialty back
He's
in the
still
day was
working?
drinking water,
So I can
okay?
call
I
the
worked at
city.
the largest drinking water plant and the North Atlantic seaboard in Situate, Rhode
Dina
Island.
just talked
So-
about it.
Yeah.
So I have a
It's
few-
really, really,
did?
really, 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 really high. It ain't just coming off the road, because if it was something like that, every single well within 10,000 miles from here would be contaminated. It's really high, but that's the only one I've seen. So there's gotta be more.
What was the only one?
The test results that you showed me from the
USGS?
elementary, no, from the elementary school. the
Well, that's
drinking
the
water.
USGS.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So what we need to see is all the other test wells, and what you'll see is your plume of pollutants of concern. So we can track that if we have the tax map, the aquifer map, the soil map, the test, the dots on the map, and you can see it. And with your pencil, you can say, yeah, here's the salt shed, here's the school,
I
and
get
here's
that, so
the
that's easy
plume.
hard to go.
And here's where you wanna put the new, you know, if we have
It's the test
wells
results
all
I
over,
can't get.
and we've done some up
And the
here,
location.
we should be able to track that plume, that's the reason they're there. And the people that did the test wells may have that for us
Should.
already. Because
should
if you
have
don't do
the-
test wells and say, okay, you know, they usually give you a report, here's the map, and,
No,
huh?
They don't.
They-
come out.
they
just
don't.
legally never come back until you call them.
the problem,
We
yeah.
have them on our sheds,
Mhm.
because I have a few facilities that were built in the early sixties, late fifties, and pour salt storage from back in the day.
Yeah,
It would be outside with maybe a black tarp on it. And it soaked in the ground. So but the test wells are there.
yeah, the test wells, and they
But we
may
don't
still
have it
be there.
monitored, but they don't cap the well, they don't,
There's a
they
difference
don't
though,
make
the
them go
way,
away.
the way the state runs and the way the school district runs,
They don't.
because they don't have money.
I understand, but they don't remove the well, they just stop testing it.
Right,
So the well should be
obviously-
exposed
Correct.
somewhere.
yes.
Does that make,
Yes,
that's what they're trying to
that
say.
is what- if there is a test well there, that thing would be out of the ground, probably that high. It's gonna have a 2-inch piece PVC pipe down inside of that thing, where they can take that 3-foot clear tube on a string, drop it down in there, pull that water out, and bail it, basically. And the last straw, they'll put it in the tube, send it out, and have it tested.
And then in 5 years from now, you wanna have it tested again,
They
you call
can
the
do it.
company, and they come back and do, or
Yeah.
call somebody. and
So
come
if they're
back and-
still there, we need
That's-
more data, then we're in good shape, so,
Correct. So somewhere it should
yeah,
be.
see what you
We'll
can
find
get
out.
for us.
Yeah. Somewhere
So-
it should
I'm
be.
kinda going around in circles on that, so
Yeah.
I got another appointment.
I know you do.
What do you, I'm gonna call this guy
15 minutes over.
Scott, and I'm gonna get a good list of engineering firms that we might wanna consider for this site
Yeah.
thing. What else am I doing?
We need to figure out when we're gonna meet again. I would say at least another month, because we need to gather information. It's gonna take a while to get all this together.
And you're gonna get water chemistry data, and I'm gonna get to see a tax map, an aquifer map, and a soil
Yeah,
map,
yeah.
GIS slapped
that.
together. And
Abby?
we'll look at the wells, and that's a good place to start, because that's gonna answer a lot of these guys' questions.
Have you been up on that site? You used to,
I know, I
you
know.
know
what
it. Okay, I think it would be a good
Yeah, I'm
idea.
gonna walk around up there too, because
Yeah.
like I say, I've only seen about 5
Watch out
acres,
for
and
the
I'm
ticks.
new on this, I just started like a month ago,
The
was it
ticks
3
are
weeks
bad
ago?
out there.
Oh, I ripped one off of me today, I ain't afraid of
So, just so you
ticks, I'm an environmental.
Okay, do we agree that we wanna meet in a month?
Yeah,
Give this
but
a
at
month.
6:30 at night, some during the middle of the week would be, that way everybody that works.
And somebody else said
There's only, well,
Wednesdays
there
aren't
were
good.
only 2 people that worked.
Somebody else said Wednesdays aren't
Three
good,
of us
was
sitting
that
right
you?
here that were working every
Yeah.
day.
Right, you and Emmett
Yeah.
are gonna be the ones working.
What are your
So-
I
best
work every
days?
day, I don't
Yeah.
usually get until 5.
So I didn't know
Yeah.
anything about you though,
I had
Kevin.
to take time off to come here today,
Okay,
but that's fine. So let's do later.
can you do?
What's your best days, like
6:30
Tuesdays,
meeting
Thursdays?
once
I
a
run
month?
the food pantry up, so Wednesdays are tough for
Okay.
me.
With another
Thursday?
6:30 meeting every
Thursdays,
night.
Tuesdays?
Tuesday, the second,
That's
first
the planning
Tuesday of the
board.
month, we got meeting that night, correct?
Tuesdays,
Yeah.
planning board.
Our
Thir-
first
planning is first Tuesday.
of the month, yeah. So,
Wednesday is
Well,
a safe
Thursdays.
night.
well,
Wednesday is the
she's
same.
Food
working.
pantry, food
Oh,
pantry,
food
food
pantry.
pantry.
Can't do that.
No Wednesdays.
There are
So it can't be the
no
first
no
no
Wednesday.
Thursday anymore, because planning board's not on a Thursday anymore.
Okay,
So do you wanna do that?
Thursday,
Thursday?
Mm.
Thursday,
Is that
good?
good, Kevin?
Good.
and this is the first Thursday.
Yeah,
5:30.
6:30.
Yeah, whatever you want,
Is
man.
that okay?
So we're gonna do 6:30 the first Thursday.
Is 6:30 okay?
Yep.
The first Thursday of
June.
6:30,
June.
first.
June 4th.
Yep.
Okay,
June
and we're gonna
4th.
go 6:30.
Thursday. That'll probably be 6:30 to 8, and we do it in an hour and a half.
That gives us a good amount of time to get a lot of information together, I think.
So the selectmen will okay, Dana would have time enough to get okay as far as,
We can probably ask
an
it at the next
engineering
meeting.
part
Well,
of
I
this.
will bring it up at the next meeting. I need
Okay.
to do some homework before I ask them.
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously, I can't just say,
Right,
Oh, just write us a blank check, it's
you
good.
know, I don't know what it's gonna cost, but
right.
we'll prove it, that will work.
Well, yeah, they're gonna
I
need,
would just
I mean,
support
It doesn't cost you anything to get bids, right?
Oh, no.
Right,
Now we're
and
seeing-
then
That's what I'm
then
gonna
we'll
ask
know
you.
what we're
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about.
Right.
because we all have tasks and stuff,
So
so,
I will do that.
yeah, I don't care if it goes
Yeah.
late, you know.
For planning purposes.
On a Friday night, though, too.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking not Fridays.
Right.
Why, what do you do on Fridays?
Well, you
Get in
don't
trouble.
know.
I don't know, I don't know.
Celebrating Mary
He's
Jane.
got his glass of
I
wine.
don't, I just.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Nice message.
It was
Yeah,
mine.
nice meeting you. I'm looking forward to working with you because he told me you're a smart guy, like, you know what? You know how to build stuff and whatever, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna push back on you because I'm the one that watches first. And I like to do my homework and speak from a place of knowledge.
Thursday,
So
I have a
I
capital
don't push
area
back to
meeting.
be,
I get that, but I've been there first to clear
Thursday,
it.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I'm good.
I've
so
been
you
there
and I
first.
need to do this,
So
so
I'll
we
put
know.
a
That's
note
why
out to
I know
everybody.
what
Kevin,
it's all about.
you
And
need
what I'll do is
your
I'll try to get up there and
contact
just
information.
freaking walk around.
Yeah.
You
But
did?
before the next time I come here, so I
Okay,
can talk
can I
with
Yeah.
you more
email
intelligently.
you?
I just literally didn't have time to get up
No,
there.
it's fine, it's all.
But, it's helpful, you know, you put
Yeah.
You
eyes
wouldn't
on
wanna miss
something.
a
Yeah.
note from
Well,
me.
when you've been there with a piece of equipment, that tells us work.
Yeah, it does. I don't doubt that.
That's
I
fine.
don't doubt
Whatever
anything
is
you're
most
saying,
reliable
but,
for you, that's fine.
You know, we also need to know that we're
Yeah.
not just doing this for ourselves too. We have a whole community we gotta answer to.
Oh, I'm real good.
If you're gonna spend money, man, you better,
Oh, yeah,
you
no,
better
no,
tell me
no,
I
it's gonna
need
be
to,
the
or
fire
I need
alarm
to
right
know
around
what's on
that.
it.
Safety building, showing that.
The data's already there, and we don't need it, we ain't spending it.
Build
I'm
that
frugal,
down,
man.
at least cheap in
But I want quality.
Franklin, and
too, you know what I'm
that way I
saying?
can get there before he.
So you
You
still.
guys are all set, right?
We're
Yes.
all set.
Goodbye.
So we're gonna
Thank you.
adjourn the meeting
Yep.
at
Thanks for your
5:08.
time,
Yeah,
everybody.
Thank you,
I gotta
Peg.
go on.
There you go. So that's my name, that's my name.
Sorry we didn't have more time together, but we'll.
When you walk up there, give me a buzz.